Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So this week's feature match, we got two pretty anticipated black decks. First, we got X Antibody finally hitting the game in full force as a real deck, not just an Omnimon anymore. We have the first of the X Antibodies. This deck is going to explode in the future. Right now, I think it's still a bit of a rogue category, but it is incredibly fun. So if you're looking for something new and fresh, this is a great deck for you. But also, we got Machinedramon now with its secondary mega, its dedicated secondary mega to the build in the form of Chaosdramon, really bringing the deck to a whole nother level that it was not at EX1. Now, it's also in a kind of a real deck category. Also, our memory marker for this month is going to look pretty familiar here. We got Dorugoramon for our X Antibody players out there. Fantastic, super cute memory marker here. This is our prototype that we have going currently. Very, very adorable if it would focus. Also, we now have consolidated our store as a single store for Etsy. There you can get all of our memory markers as well as some awesome Battle Ready Inc. merch. So we've got card sleeves as well as our Battle Ready Inc. white mats, and hopefully here in the future we can have our dice up there as well. So stay tuned for those BRI dice. Alright, so first up we've got X Antibody going first. They're hatching into that Dorugoramon there, which is very, very fundamental, as well as the Dorugoramon, which is also very important. That inheritable is so good. Chooses not to do the on-play. Instead goes for the Coda on-play. So going to reveal top 4, add an X Antibody, but completely whiffs on the Coda play. That is very rough. But does have a memory fixer out early game, which is still very good. So kicking it back over to Machinedramon, we see the blue engine teched in. You know what that means there. Here we're going to see the Hagirmon. So on play, trash 1 level 5 in hand to draw 2. And then just going to drop a Mechanorimon for 4. They got the memory blocker out anyways. So go ahead and that on play 4. Not too bad there. Also stopping any kind of like shenanigans of free early checks with any kind of rookies. Completely turns that off. Here we're going to see a second Coda played. Definitely going to be hurting, it looks like, for some maybe a level 4 here. It looks like they might be missing out on. We're going to see the Grumblemon. They're going to see the Dorugoramon and Megadramon, and then the draw option card. So going to get only the one target there. At least doesn't whiff. That's the important part. Machinedramon, though, going to go ahead and just swing with that Hagirmon, crash in. Might as well. You don't really usually Digivolve too much on your rookies in this deck anyways. So might as well get a free security check before they get a blocker on field. And then just going to hard play a Nanimon for 3. So level 4, that's not too bad, because you can argue Digivolving on top of that. Here we're going to see as soon as Zeramon now get Digivolved in a raising area, another fantastic card for black, especially for X Antibody, I would say. Then going to hard play a Chumon for 3, and then play a second Chumon for 3. So definitely looks like they're kind of hurting on the draws a little bit, but at the same time, shutting down that memory gain off of the option card that black has is still pretty solid. So here we're going to see another Hagirmon get played here. So discard the 1 to draw 2. Could possibly swing in with that Nanimon unless they really want to Digivolve on top of it. And there we do see the Digivolve from the Andromon. So this is going to be when Digivolving, reveal top 3, and you can add a machine to hand. So you're basically digging for your Machinedramon, and there we do see a Machinedramon get hit. As well as a second. That's unfortunate. So grabs the 1 Machinedramon. Everything else goes to trash. The going to trash is also really nice because it sets up to allow your Machinedramon to hard play. And so we're going to see some promoting up of the Sunnerismon. Maybe they're ready to finally do some Digivolving. Okay, so we do see the Dark Tyrannomons for just a 1 cost. If you're just trying to be memory efficient, that's a fair target for sure. Especially if we might not have to worry as much about Jesmon anymore. We haven't seen too much play out of it, but oh my goodness, another Coda get dropped, a third Coda. So going to reveal the 4 here. Are we going to whiff again? It's not looking too good. And we do, and it does a second whiff off of the Coda. That is brutal for sure. Definitely slowing down their plays, but it looks like could possibly be slowing down black as well. Oh, but then we see the new Chaosdramon come down here. So 4 Evo cost on top of that level 5. Does get his Wind Digivolving effect though, which will place a black Digimon to the bottom. So that level 5 there goes to the bottom. And the Wind Digivolving effect will now pop 2 level 4 below. So 1 for each level 5 under that Chaosdramon. So pops the 2 memory blockers, which definitely signals that they've got the memory gaining options in hand that they really want to start using. Oh, but black not wasting any time, just throwing down that Iron Fisted Onslaught to kill off that Chaosdramon before he can start doing any sort of real work on that security over there. Does give a big whopping 5 memory, though, over to the Machinedramon, which is where they like to be. And there we do see that option come down. So 1 cost to play, gain 2, and then draw 1. As well as trash a level 5 in hand there. So just filling up that trash as much as possible for that Machinedramon that we know they have in hand. Here going to Digivolve into a Nanimon, which is an interesting choice. Definitely gets the draw going. And then we're going to see that hard drop of the Machinedramon. So, which does make more sense now with the Nanimon not wanting to waste memory. So, if they just drop the Machinedramon, they would put 5 underneath. It would have gained 5 back, put the opponent to 1. But the opponent already had a Coda on field, so they would have went to 3 anyway. So, Evoing that Nanimon for 2 was just kind of a way to dig a little bit more in the deck, as well as just, kind of being more efficient with the memory before dropping the Machinedramon here. So looks like we're going to see some reboot, some blocker, some piercing, some security attack +1, and some DP increasing. I believe that's on the opponent's turn. The black one, I believe, is for increases DP on opponent's turn. All right, now we're going to see X Antibody. Now they're going to Digivolve into their level 5 here. So when Digivolving, they can place a X Antibody underneath. That is the Dorugoramon, placing the level 4 underneath, which will give them a nice little 1000 DP buff. So then all the effects will trigger. So when an X Antibody is placed, or when a card is placed underneath it, they'll gain 1 and draw 1. So from the rookie and from the baby. And there we go. There they go. Finally into the boss himself, the Dorugoramon. So follow-up turn is going to be pretty huge, so Machinedramon needs to figure something out here. Decides to go ahead and swing in for some security checks. I believe security attack +1. And it's got reboot and blocker, and not worried about dying because of his own effect. Doesn't hit into anything too detrimental in security, though. Might swing with that Nanimon. Yeah, it goes ahead and swings in there for 1 more security check just to clear it out. Does lose the Nanimon, especially if you know that you're going to be losing the Nanimon due to the Dorugoramon's effect. When it attacks, it's going to be deleting level 4s basically. And oh, we see Machinedramon go into the Chaosdramon, pops the rookie there, and then just plays an Analog Youth to pass turn. Analog Youth also a pretty good one for this deck, except for that was a pretty bad whiff, because whatever you don't grab gets to go to the trash. So if you get a trash a bunch of level 5s, Analog Youth looking pretty good in this deck. Does have a memory fixer though, so gonna gain that memory, not gonna be able to choke on that. All right, and here we see the Dorugoramon finally getting a swing in here. Has to put something underneath. To trigger his effect to delete, you have to put something else underneath at first. So puts another copy of himself underneath, and that allowing him to pop that Machinedramon, or that Mechanorimon. Also, that Chaosdramon does have reboot, so he's actually unsuspended, which they immediately fixed. So swinging in for security here. Oh, goodness. Hits into a Kaiser Nail on the first hit. Plays out the Machinedramon. I think that last Machinedramon that we saw played, though, took most of the trash resources here. Ouch, that's rough. So only gets to put 1 underneath and only gains the 1 memory. That's a bummer. This rest of the security attack does go through here. Just hits into a Metal Greymon from BT7. Oh my goodness. Plays the Iron Fisted Onslaught here, which will delete both of those so that the Machinedramon does not have enough sources underneath it to protect itself. Just a quick interruption here in editing and post, but everything I'm about to say here is still pretty relevant. However, the analog youth mistrigger here is actually pretty huge, so the memory actually should be 1 higher, which actually makes the turn that he's about to have could be completely viable if he had just played the Machinedramon first. Then he could have played all these black cards that he's about to play. So we'll continue on here in the video, but just saying that if he had done the analog youth, the turn actually would have been fine, and it wouldn't actually matter as much as I'm about to explain. Yikes, that was a very well-timed iron-fisted onslaught for sure, setting black Machinedramon back completely here. Now, we will see a bit of some misplays here in just a second. Does Digivolve into that Vmon? We saw him grab off the analog youth. But here, there's no black cards on field. Now, after completely reviewing this video and stuff like that, it does come back to not matter. We will see it when it gets to it. But ultimately, they're just kind of digging and cycling through the deck a little bit for no needed reason. We already know their trash has the 5 different named anyway for the Machinedramon. But it is kind of, still a misplay nonetheless here. We do see another analog youth get played out here. And just grabs the defeat. So not too exciting of an analog youth there. Those go to trash as well. Again, not adding to the necessary pull needed. And then we'll play another one of those out to cycle through. Not really sure what they're drawing for, but there we see the Machinedramon that they had in hand from earlier. We'll go ahead and play that out. And this is kind of what they could have played it like initially and gained the memory, but the gaining the memory before they played like the analog youth and wasted the analog youth. Kind of some unnecessary plays, ultimately, I think. Like digging for something when you didn't actually need anything is what it kind of came down to. So here we're going to see them pull the stuff out of trash, and this is all stuff we've seen before. So we got the reboot, the blocker, the piercing, the security attack +1, and I forget what that other one is. I think it's like when you delete something, you gain a memory. But ultimately, none of those are going to matter anyway. So we'll gain the 5 back here, and that's the fundamental part, is gains the 5 memory back, so it keeps it on their turn. Normally, they would have passed turn. If they hadn't played all those option cards, they would have passed turn here. Plays the Ice Wall. Okay, so they played the Ice Wall here. That was the last little card that they normally they wouldn't have been able to play this card. However, in Black's turn, it ultimately didn't really matter. Goes for the Grumblemon here because you have all those extra codas anyways. So there we go. Draw for the Evo, and then we'll go ahead and just go into a Rebellimon for 3 memory, which will basically just kind of stall out Black's turn a little bit. It'll keep them from winning, putting a blocker on field, as well as having retaliation also, so can kind of strip some sources out of that Machinedramon. And the order here is kind of interesting. Machinedramon could swing, and then you keep the Vmon. However, the Vmon swings, you get the draw, and then the Rebellimon suspends to block it, right? And then the Machinedramon swings. It has piercing though, so it can pierce over the Rebelli. We'll just go ahead and eat the retaliation here with its ability, and we'll still get this security check because of the piercing here. Just debating which source to get rid of. Probably the delete with effect. Yeah, by effect there. If the opponent's not playing out anything small, you're not going to be able to get any kind of pops with it. So go ahead and trashes that. Keeps the piercing, the blocker, and the reboot. And then hits into nothing too crazy there. So just the level 4. And then here we see a Vmon just to pass turn. Goes up to 3 memory with the memory fixer. Kind of almost an unnecessary play because the Dorugoramon can delete it anyway when it attacks, as we'll see right here. Plays the X Antibody Alphamon underneath. So has to play something to go ahead and trigger that ability. So we'll place that, deletes the Vmon, because you got to have something that can, you got to clear at least that body off field and then put out a blocker, right? You got to delete a body and put a blocker out to not lose on the following turn. And that Alphamon probably not going to see any play anyway to Evo up into another stack, more than likely. So we see 2 security checks there. Nothing very exciting. Another level 5, which again, we have plenty of already from early game. And then needs to put out something. So going to... gonna Digivolve into the Chumon first to get that extra draw, and then we see the Sundazeramon hard play for 3, and then you gotta Evo into a blocker here. Evo's into the 1-cost blocker, so it could still do something with its turn. Another draw, definitely getting some hand resources there. Oh, and then we see the new option card. So 2 cost, draw a card for one of your X antibodies on field for every inheritable that it has. So this hand size is going to go from a 3 up to, I forget how many it is. It's huge, though. Look at that massive hand that turned into. That's just absolutely crazy. And then we're going to see the back over to Machinedramon, goes into the Vmon, but ultimately, again, like I said, it didn't matter because the Chaosdramon was actually in the hand the whole time, and all those draws earlier wasn't necessary because, as we saw, it was all the way on the left. And because the way Tabletop Simulator works, it's always the card you've had the longest is always there. So they've actually been sitting on that Chaosdramon for a very long time, as well as the Machinedramon that we saw them pick up earlier. So, yes, there was some misplays, but thankfully they didn't matter too much. They kind of just extended out those turns needlessly, putting more targets for Machinedramon in trash. But Machinedramon just really like those same targets that it keeps going back to. The blocker, the reboot, the piercing, the security attack +1. They're going to grab those 4 every single time. So the 5th one doesn't matter too much. And out of all those ones that we saw, I don't think they even chose any of them. So... thankfully, did not matter in the overall outcome of the game. Just needless, like I said, needless cards were played, such as like the Ice Wall, as well as the Vmon that they hard played out. Like all those cards just got bypassed anyways. So and they actually didn't make any sort of impact into the match overall. The Machinedramon and then the Chaosdramon there was the big plays. And then here is the awesome X Antibody deck first, and we will be having full deck profiles with some changes for both these decks later in the week. So make sure you check those out if you want to see the updated version from after several more rounds of playtesting. And then here is our new and improved Machinedramon deck. Again, we will make a few more modifications to this for some really kind of spicy text for the new format.